The story of Tico Texas, man. I have to tell the story again because Tico Texas rolled through the office today. And my own coworkers didn't even know who she was. And so I'm thinking, if there are people who work at Barstool and live and breathe this company who don't even know the tale, then there are certainly fans out there who don't know it. So gather round, children, spark the blunt, and let me tell you the tale of how I, Kevin Francis Clancy, ended up in a rap battle with some hood rat ratchet chick rapper from Houston. It all began with Ariana Grande. I, at the time, was married, or I guess I was dating or engaged, and my baby mama was a big fan of Ariana Grande. And so it's kind of a running joke. I took her to a concert before. We listened to all of her music, the cat ears, the whole thing. The running joke was like, we are an Ariana Grande house. In this house, we play Ariana. So I used to write blogs and tweets about how much Ariana Grande dominated the game. She was dating the rapper Big Sean at the time. And I liked Big Sean, which is the irony of this whole thing, is I actually like Big Sean. I think he's a great rapper. But he was at the center of it because Ariana Grande and Big Sean broke up. And so I wrote a blog, tongue-in-cheek, jokingly, being like, thank God Ariana Grande can now go on to date a true superstar. And what's ironic is, she had a little dip there with Pete Davidson, but now she ended up marrying this guy that nobody knows. But I was saying Ariana Grande is such a megastar that Big Sean ain't shit, and she needs to go find a true A-lister to be with. So I put that blog out. I put those tweets out. And all of a sudden, I'm getting tweets from this chick, Tiko Texas. She is a rapper from Houston who also claims Atlanta and Los Angeles and Las Vegas. And she starts talking shit. Fuck you. Big Sean is my fan. Big Sean is my friend, and he's my idol. I'm a fan of his. How dare you talk about him? So the blogger in me is like, oh, this is great. This is going to be a great back and forth on Twitter, and I'm going to have myself a blog to put up some material. Back in that time, I was just a blogger, barely podcasting. I probably had, it's 2015, so I only had like 2 podcasts at the time, and a lot of the concern was always making sure you had enough daily blog material. So I was like, all right, I'm going to milk this. I'm going at this chick on Twitter. She's going at me. She's kind of playing the game. So I ended up having this, and it was just very funny because Tico Texas is fucking hood, and I'm clearly cream cheese white, and the shit she was saying to me, and the black Twitter like jokes and slang and terms she was using with me trying to play along, it was very funny. So as we're doing this back and forth, Tico, God bless her dumb ass, she recognizes that she's getting a lot of heat from this, like a lot of attention, a lot of followers. People are picking up her tweets. People are following her. People are engaging. So this is the most attention she's gotten, ever. So she starts to lean into it too, and she says, "I'm gonna make a diss track. I'm going to battle Clancy." And Dave, at this point, is my mortal enemy. There was a time where KFC versus El Prez was like the Barstool rivalry. This was before Dave became a 100 millionaire and decided to fly on private jets and fuck models and stuff. So it was like me versus him. And so he sees that I've got this internet enemy now. So what does Dave do? He joins her side. I believe, as the story goes, he was like paying for her studio time, paying for weed. I think somebody or one of his people or stoolies on Team Portnoy or people who hated me was like giving Tico information because she knew shit about me that's people knew who I was, but she had intimate details about my life and shit. So she puts out a song called Numbers Never Lie, which the beat, whoever made the beat, it's fire. And whoever sung the hook, fire. I'm here to testify that numbers never lie, with this fucking good beat, cool instruments, it sounded good, and then Tico comes on the track and is just an absolute fucking catastrophe. I mean, just no flow, nothing clever, takes a couple shots at me and my then fiance, talking shit about my dog. And so it was this big build-up. I'm dropping my track. You know, I think it took like a couple weeks where everybody's like, you know, tomorrow night, midnight, and the song comes out. So Numbers Never Lie comes out, and it's awful. But Dave loves it. Of course, I mean, she could put out anything, and Dave was going to love it to talk shit to me. And so the Stoolies are clowning her. My haters are on her side. And so I was like, all right, I'm coming back over the top, and I'm writing my own diss track. And, I mean, I'm a big rap fan. I've been fucking rapping in the shower and rapping in the car and in my head forever, you know? I loved 8 Mile. I love white rappers. I love the rap game. I love it all. I think of it, to me, like rap is like a sport, where it's like I have my list, my rankings of the greatest ever, and are we talking about lyrics or flow or popularity or good songs versus, you know, content versus, you know, all that shit. So, I mean, I love rap, and I always like knew to myself that I could kind of like, I could keep a beat and I could like rap along with songs. But I was like, all right, I got to put this to the test and make my own song. So I had a friend of my, the mother of my kids. He makes beats for a living. And he had a couple songs. He had like almost like a Lil Dicky type thing going. He had a band, like a boy band rap group that would make like funny parody type music. But it was good. Chris McDonald is his name, C-Mac. And I think he had like it was called like Jam Rock Records or something like that. I can't remember what it was. But anyway, he had this beat that was, he made it for HBO, for Mayweather Pacquiao, when that fight was going down. It was supposed to be like when they're running the vignettes and they're running the packages during the pay-per-view or the commercials leading up. He submitted it for that. It didn't get chosen. He was like, how about you take this track? Because the hook was all about getting knocked out. And I like this beat. My goal first and foremost was like, I want to make an actual good song. To me, when you make a rap record, a battle rap record, you gotta like, your lyrics have to like be on point. You have to massacre that person, but it's gotta be a good song that people want to listen to. That's like when Drake put out Back to Back, it was like, this is a good beat, it's got kind of a hook, and then also the lyrics are there, the battle is there, but it can't be like a lame song. It's got to actually be something people enjoy listening. Now, I take that, I put it with this beat. He had the kid singing the hook was actually on like American Idol at the time. Robbie Rosen was his name. So I got this beat and this catchy hook, and I'm like, you know, I'm not fucking hard hood from the streets, so I'm not gonna try to pretend and put out some, you know, some fucking hit 'em up type shit. I was like, this is gonna be a song that people enjoy, and I'm gonna come at these people. So I decide the first verse I'll come at Tico Texas, and the second verse I'm going at Dave, because fuck him for backing Tico. Now Dave, when when Numbers Never Lie came out, he made a video of himself like listening to like a listening party where he was like, oh, this shit goes hard. She murdered him. Of course, like the biggest Tico Texas fan in the world. So I'm like, all right, fuck Tico and anybody who rides with her. So I'm putting one verse on Tico and one verse on Dave Portnoy. So I write a couple verses. I mean, I wrote a lot. When I sat down with Chris, he was like, okay, so you'll do like what, 8 bars, 16 bars. We'll do a hook and like we're out of here. And I'm like, no, dude. I got some shit to get off my chest. So I wrote like not only making fun of Tico and Dave, but I included some inside jokes about what was going on with like me as a blogger. I was talking about like Black Twitter and like and a couple inside jokes with Tico making fun of me and some of the words she used and some of the things that like I was writing as a blogger and a podcaster. So like if you knew me and knew all my content, it was all kind of in there. So I wrote like 2 full verses, but I swear at one point he was like, yo, we got to trim this down. Nobody wants to hear like a 6-minute song. So I put out the first verse on Tico, and then the second verse on Dave. Now Tico is one thing. It was a different time. There was a couple lyrics I had to change for posterity. Thank God that I did, because I probably would be canceled by now. But it's a fucking rap battle. You're not supposed to be nice. You're supposed to go with people and fucking end them. Tico, I mean, she owes absolutely everything to me. So my whole verse was kind of like, you would be nothing without me. Like, and she was like loving the attention. I was like, bitch, this is all bad attention. Like, there's no such thing as bad publicity. No, this is bad publicity. They're making fun of you. We're laughing at you, you dumb bitch. So there was that. And then the Dave verse was interesting because, like I said, it's a battle, but also this is the dude that signs my checks. So for the most part, I kept it above board. It was, making fun of his bald spot and his big nose and he was making fun of him for being short and like shit like that. At the time, he turned down an investment in DraftKings, which turned into $1 billion company. So we used to make fun of him for that, saying that he missed his chance to make all his money. Obviously, along comes Penn, and that's a thing of the past. But at the time, he had made a couple bad business decisions, and he didn't have his rich glow up, so he was still disgusting. So I made the second verse about him, and I think people were pretty surprised at the song. I mean, there was enough of my fans being like, yo, I can actually kind of listen to this shit. This shit actually kind of bangs. And Dave eventually writes his record. He comes back. He goes third to make a diss track about me, which Dave, loves to rewrite history and say his shit goes so hard and mine is bubblegum soft. It's he just completely jacked all of Mike Stud's battle with Hoodie Allen. So Mike Stud, friend of the program, now he just goes by Mike. He was helping Dave. He got in the studio with Dave. They filmed it. They had a whole thing of Dave in the booth trying to rap, and Dave legitimately had to go word by word. Forget about bar by bar, line by line, rap by rap, rhyme by rhyme. It was he couldn't keep up with the beat at all. So he would say individual words, and the poor engineer had to splice it all together. But he'll tell you oh, my shit went so hard and his was soft. I mean, listen, the proof is in the pudding. When those songs came out, nobody gave a fuck about his song. I won that battle fair and square. Anybody who has ears knows that. But it also sucks battling your boss because he could take some shots at me that he can take as the boss. Certain things that if I would have said probably wouldn't have gone down well. But hey, now that there's no love lost and everybody, there's nobody cares anymore. I wish we all just fucking unloaded the clip and said everything we could about each other. A real fucking, some real East Coast, West Coast violent type shit. But the fact that, and shout out to Tico, I hate her ratchet ass, but she played a huge part in it. And I think it's one of the most interesting, unique, never gonna happen again type of storylines the internet's ever seen. That was actually a moment that I had a kind of an epiphany, if you will, of oh, we can do anything here. I used to just be a blogger, and yeah, we added this podcast, but if I want to make a rap record, I can do that. We can put it out. I have a fan base who's gonna listen to it and like it and circulate it. We're doing hundreds of thousands of listens. There's nothing we can't do. I remember kind of thinking the pitch to advertising clients and networks and shit should be look at this. We decided out of nowhere on our own to have a fucking rap battle with this random person we pulled off the internet, me and the founder of this place. We're going to and it wasn't I never got on the phone with Dave being yo, why don't we do this? I'll put a song out. You put a song out. We'll listen to it. We'll put out video. None of that. It was just totally natural, totally organic, where it was she did hers. And I was all right, I'm going to do mine. He was all right, I'm going to do mine. And everybody played their role. And it became this, when you think about the other competition we've had in this space, and I put air quotes because we don't really have any. It's ESPN's not doing something like that. Bro Bible at the time, they don't have any personalities that anybody knows about. There was nobody out there that had other names and personalities that you would read them as a blogger, but then also be oh, I'm gonna fuck with their rap record too because they're involved in a rap beef with some internet nobody. I mean, it was just, that was a big moment for someone who's always been kind of pessimistic and this isn't gonna work. I got to plan for the worst. Who knows? Maybe one day I'll be back in the cubes. I was whoa, when you get the right inspiration, put your mind to it, you can kind of do this shit. And I don't know, it's funny because as a rap fan, I attributed most of it to that. I was I've listened to battle rap, I've listened to, clever lyrics and punchlines, and I think I can kind of, it was Costanza in the Frogger episode of Seinfeld, where he's stop. I can do this. I've been planning for this my whole life. But also, part of it, what I realized is being writing lyrics is kind of like writing a blog. Like when you're gonna like writing tweets at Tico, I was like, I'm clowning this chick. I just got to do it like in rhyme form. I was like, I haven't done this before, but all of like my little skill set that I've been cultivating, I can apply to this like right here, right now. So it ended up being like the most, that was the most fun content I've ever had. I was like, this is my dream. And it sucks because Dave has, at the time he had the office in Milton. He had the cameramen and like the support. So he had the video of him in the booth hanging out with Mike Stud, drinking champagne, pretending to be a rapper. I was just doing it by myself in the basement of this kid's house. I wish, now I would have Nick and the whole gang. We could have filmed it and made our own music video and shit. At the time, it was just me. Like, I remember zipping out to, I think, Long Island he lived on. I hopped in the car from Hoboken, drove all the way to Long Island. And I was like, I got to get this shit done and get back home in time. Because, I think, I was like, I got to get home. The wife's pregnant. We got to, like, deal with that. I mean, it was just, like, part of my job at the time. I was like, I just got to get this done in a couple weeks and I got to capitalize. So, one of the all-time great Barstool rivalries, Barstool sagas. The song I put out is called Second Round TKO, Tiko, like the cannabis diss track, first round knockout, second round TKO. You can listen to it on Spotify if you haven't heard it. Shit still goes, man. Knockout. So go listen to that. Dave's song, I don't remember the name. What was Dave's song called? Do you remember? Dave's song was Rise Page Use Rise. That was his rap name was Rise Page Use. I don't know. I think his was on SoundCloud. I'm not sure where his is. But you can go listen to the songs and judge for yourself. But it was certainly one for the ages. And there's also a Barstool documentary and a Stool Scenes episode of it. So if you search the Tico Texas KFC saga, you can get the full scoop and hear it start to finish. But go listen to the track. It's honestly my favorite thing that I've ever done. Some people, you're going to call it cringy. I remember, in hindsight, when I should have known things were maybe not going to go great for me in my relationship. I remember I worked so hard on that song, and I put it all together, and I finally get the final product shipped back to me. Her friend was the producer. He's like, here you go. Here's the final product. And I was like, here it is. Like, I'm done. I was like, yo, I've been working on this thing at work. Do you want to hear this song? And I put it on, and within 10 seconds, she was like, oh, I can't listen. It's so cringy. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, I guess it is pretty cringy. So some people think it's cringy. Some people think it's like corny white boy. But listen, I think I can kind of spit bars. I think I can kind of flow. So, there's been more, we battled with Rappaport, and me and Nate once rap battled, and Roan, of course, has been in the mix. So there's been a funny amount of rap battling throughout Barstool's history, but what kicked it all off was Tico versus KFC versus Dave. So go check it out. It is for sure a classic storyline that I don't think will ever be rivaled.